Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about a wonderful principle that comes to us from the Aikibudo group I used to study with, Stuart Lyle, Dick Kabalski, and they would talk about this principle and they made up this name for it. And it's that you're almost there, but you're not quite there. And you're beating your head against the wall. Why is this not working for me? And they tell you, you're just off by that much. It's just 1 inch. That's all you're lacking. You're right there. You're in the ballpark. You're almost there. And you're like, it's just driving me nuts. How can I not get this? And so that happens to us a lot in meditation, doesn't it? It's like, okay, I'm getting some experience, but I'm not getting the very specific experience that I am looking for. Well, it's the 1 inch syndrome a lot of the time. Everything is there. You're right in the correct place. You're just off by an inch. So I think it's a wonderful principle to have and to understand that you very well could be right on the verge of something and you don't quite know it. And so understanding that and understanding the 1 inch syndrome can help us to relax. And when we relax deeply, we enter more into tranquility and things flow more easily. And then we have more experience automatically. So let's get into this wonderful principle. So Dick Kabalski and Stuart Lyle were my teachers in Aikibudo, in Aikido, and they would talk about this 1 inch syndrome. So let's give a little demonstration of what that might look like. So I want you to put out your fist like that and make it really strong, like get in a strong stance. There you go. And make it really strong. Don't let me move it. Right? So now she's really strong, my friend Michelle, which would like to remain mostly off camera. Now her fist is really strong, so don't let me move it. So now she's making it really strong. And so it's difficult to move her because she's holding everything very strong. But if I move her 1 inch, well, then it's quite easy to move her, isn't it? So go ahead, get strong again. Get really strong. Don't let me move you. See, it's quite difficult to move her. But if I just bring her 1 inch towards me, well, it's kind of easy to move her, isn't it? And that's 1 inch. So the same thing, she's going to punch at me, and I'm going to redirect it just 1 inch. And now look, same thing. That 1 inch has made all the difference. But if I deflect, and I don't move her 1 inch, well, now she's quite steady. It's much more difficult. So she punches and I move it just 1 inch, and now it's quite easy to manipulate the rest of her body. So that's how that works. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I think that they say in deep sea diving, and I'm getting this from the movie Fool's Gold. They said, if you miss by 1 inch, you miss by a mile. So in other words, something's buried in the sand and you're looking for it. If you miss by 1 inch, you might as well have missed by a mile because you're not finding it, but you're almost there. And so that helps them to be very conscientious and move very slowly and track every little inch and cover and make a grid and and really search very, very effectively. And it's a very wonderful principle because very often we are almost there. For example, I was just talking with a fantastic yogini, and she says, these people I am meditating with, I have this meditation group, and they're having these wonderful visions of a lotus opening up on top of their head. She said, I don't get that at all. She said, I get this pressure, like somebody's putting a hand on top of my head. I get this pressure on top of my head. I said, that's the same experience. What do you mean that's the same experience? Well, if you're going to understand things, you have to understand, okay, this person saw a pink lotus, okay, this person saw a blue lotus, this person saw a slightly red lotus, this person saw, they're all lotuses, right? We got to group these into the correct category. And some people are more visual and some people are more kinesthetic. And this particular yogini is very, very kinesthetic in the way that she processes information. So when I teach the talking to your higher self training, the third training, right, on meditative mellows, when I talk about that, I say don't look for the vision. Don't try and necessarily visualize. If you're good at visualization and it's working well for you, then visualize away. But if it's not your primary modality and you're more kinesthetic, you're more feely and touchy, right? Then go into those rooms as you practice the progression and feel everything. Okay, I feel the doorway. Okay, I feel the room. Okay, I feel the presence. You feel all of those things, and then out of that feeling, you might get a vision, but it doesn't matter. The feeling is the actual experience for you. And the same thing with this particular experience. She didn't see the lotus, which is a visual modality. She felt the pressure on the top of the head. So she's looking for this experience, and it's already there. She's already having it. But her brain likes the modality of feeling rather than visualization. So a lot of times when you're looking and you're comparing yourself to other yogis and you're saying, well, they're having this experience, maybe they're more visual. Maybe you are more kinesthetic and you feel things. That's equally valid. In fact, it's potentially more valid. You can have a more powerful experience because you feel things, and that has a tendency to go more into the heart, and it'll be a more profound experience for you than just witnessing something. But the other person might have a vision, they might, and it just blows their mind. It's equally powerful. But for you, the feeling is going to be more powerful because you're kinesthetic for a reason. You like feeling things. Your brain likes to feel things. We decide these things when we're very, 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 like when we're infants. That's when we decide these things. Am I going to be more visual? Am I going to be more kinesthetic? Am I going to be more auditory? Am I going to be more sensual and taste things? Am I going to be a chef? Which modality is going to be very, very good for me? Another example of somebody missing by an inch. I had a wonderful student, and he got the third training, and he wrote me and he said, Forrest, I'm not quite getting the feedback from the rooms. And I could understand it. He's a very logical person. He loves to use his left brain, and he's learning to let it go and get into the right brain. It's beautiful. He's a very good yogi, but he's just having a little bit of a hang up going down into these subconscious brainwaves, right? Which is what the training is progressing you through. We have to go down in order to go up. And so he's going through this. He said, I'm not getting a lot of feedback. So I gave him some suggestions, and he tried those out, and it still didn't work. And so we went all out on the slower brainwaves, and I said, I want you to do this exercise when you are dead tired. All right? I want you to take yourself to, and I wouldn't recommend this every day for everybody, okay? But if you're having trouble in meditation, or if you're having trouble with one of the trainings, or if you're having trouble with something and you want to progress a little bit deeper in your meditation, try this out as an experiment. I said, I want you to get dead tired, like really, really, really tired, like you're about to pass out, and then go and practice this progression. And so he did it, and it worked. He finally got feedback from the other rooms. Why? Because sleep will force you to go down into the slower brainwaves. So he went down into the slower brainwaves, and sure enough, everything started working correctly. Now he was there. He was doing the heart rate variability resonance. He was doing the Om Japa in the chakras. He was doing the expansion of Hakala. He was doing all of these primary things that I talk about. And yet he was not able to access these subconscious brainwaves. And if you can't do that, you're going to have a hard time hearing from the higher self. Because very often the higher self comes as a reflection through the subconscious brainwaves. So that's why the kahuna, that's why the yogis, that's why the kriya yogis say, hey, let's go down and clean out the lower chakras. We got to do that. We got to get in touch with the lower self and clean it out and make it a nice mirror that is clear so we can reflect the higher self. So the higher self comes down and reflects in the still waters. You see? All those Zen sayings, the still waters, all of those are correct. They're all correct. All right? And that's what we're doing in the Om Japa, in the lower self, in the lower three chakras. And then we come up to the higher self, and the boom, 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 heart, throat, medulla, and above, right? We experience that expansion above the medulla. We don't breathe through the brain, but we expand upward into expansion. And that really gets the higher self going, that right brain connection, right? So he's doing all of that. He just couldn't get down. He had a little bit of resistance, and sleep pushed him through to the other side. It was 1 inch. He was already there. As soon as he got really sleepy, that did the trick. You see? You know, a lot of times we come into meditation, we come into a spiritual life, and we're like, more, more, more. I got to do more. And sometimes, you know, I was in practicing Aikibudo with Stuart Lyle. I'm like, I got to do more. He's like, no, you got to do worse and less. I'm like, what? Nobody tells me to do worse and less. You know, Brother Mitrananda used to say that. He realized that the teachings that he had been giving for years, in the feedback that he got from Judy Jolly, who was a psychologist, I think she was a psychiatrist. The feedback that he got from her is, you guys are trying too hard and you need to pull back and relax and be more real. That's what you need. And I watched him go through that transition. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, to watch him go through that transition. He used to love to tell this story. I was in a conference with him one day, and I was inspired. I reached out, I put my hand on his. I said, it's so beautiful. We are so proud of you, watching you go through your transition. And he said to me that it was like it was divine to him. It felt like it was divinely inspired. He said it was like Moses reaching out and touching him. And it wasn't about me. It was the beauty of the transition that he was going through, to pull back and relax. And so he started using this phrase that we don't need to be more and better necessarily every time. Sometimes it's less and worse. And so I was trying really hard to get the Aikibudo principles and to manifest it in my body, which is quite complicated. There's just levels and levels of structure that have to be correct for all of these things to work correctly, right? And so I'm trying to manifest all of that. And I'm trying to pile in this and then pile in that and then pile in that. And Stuart would tell me, he said, no, get all that off. And you're already there. Can you learn to figure out when you are already there and the technique is already working? You just have to let it finish and work out by itself. So sometimes we need to do more and better, and sometimes we need to do less and worse. And a lot of times that's the letting go, isn't it? That's the right brain. So the left brain is like, well, I could do this and I could do that. And sometimes we just have to let go and just be. Right? That's the right brain. There's no one solution for what is your 1 inch that you're missing. And that's why it's so wonderful to play with the different things that I try and present to you. Okay, what if I bring Hakala into my meditations, right? Okay, how do I do that? Okay, well, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to get into heart rate variability resonance. I'm going to do some Om Japa on the chakras. Forrest keeps telling me that's really important, so I'm going to do that, and I like it. Okay, and now I did that, and now how do I bring Hakala into my meditation? Well, I can open my eyes, and I'm still sitting very still, but I'm going to open my eyes, and I'm going to look out at one point, and then I'm going to expand my peripheral vision and notice everything on the sides. So I can see my fingers right now. I'm looking at you, but I can see my fingers moving. That's my peripheral vision. It means that my eye is dilating to be able to see that. And that will put you into a meditative state instantly. It will put you in a meditative state instantly, just a little bit, and it gets deeper, but right away it puts you into a meditative. So I'm in heart rate variability resonance. I did my Om Japa. Now I'm going to open my eyes. I'm going to look out and go into Hakala. Now I'm going to close my eyes and imagine I'm still feeling that expansive awareness that was in my eyes. I'm going to keep feeling that. And imagine I'm still seeing the fingers on the side. Okay, now I'm going to open my eyes. Am I still I am. I'm still. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not dilated. Okay, I'm going to dilate again. See, look at one point and see my fingers on the side. Okay, I'm in Hakala because I can see my fingers. Okay, so now I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to keep that feeling of expansiveness. And that's how you experiment. And you'll hear yogis, they'll say, oh no, you have to be regimented. You have to do exactly what the guru says. Well, the guru is really an internal experience. So you can go to a coach and the coach will tell you, do this, do this, do this. Well, yeah, you should follow that. You should try it out. Even just once as an experiment. See what it gives you. Is it giving you that next step? Is it giving you a window into what you need to do? Is it giving you the 1 inch that kind of pushes you onto the other side? Like a sleep experiment, or a Hakala experience, or an Om Japa experiment, or how do I experiment with Om Japa? Well, I'm going through my day and I felt, I got cut off on the freeway and I'm like, it was Sky and you cut me off. It's just like, and I feel that, right? And I feel it here and I feel it down here, right? So what do? Well, I Om into this one and I Om into this one. It kind of evaporates, doesn't it? That's an Om Japa experiment. And these little experiments, the things that I present, okay, I'm doing Kriya Yoga for 20 years, 30 years, different lineage, right? And it's not, I seem to be missing my 1 inch because I'm not getting the things that I thought I was supposed to be getting. Try out the heart rate variability resonance. Plug it into your meditation. Where do I plug it in? Well, I'm going to do the stretching first, and then before I do my Kriya, I'm going to do my heart rate variability resonance. I'm going to see if I can get any of those 4 proofs. Forrest keeps talking about these 4 proofs and the hands hot and heavy. Can I get my hands hot and heavy? I did. It wasn't that hard. It was really simple. 1 inch. And then I did my Kriya. Oh my God, the Kriya works. Why? 30 years it didn't work, and now it works. 1 inch. That's all you were missing. So we keep running these little experiments. We run these little experiments. I give you a progression. We run the progression. And inch by inch by inch, we make it. Because we were never missing that much. Remember, the right brain is always there. The left amygdala is always there. We've all come to the edge of the ocean and gone, whoa, this is beautiful. That's the right brain. It's all the time. It's all the time right there with you. We've all seen a little baby and gone, oh my God, it's so cute. It's going to kill me. That's the left amygdala. We all have that taste of bliss. You can't run from these things. They're inside of you. They're built into the machine that you're living in. So you can't run from them. It's just 1 inch. That's all we're looking for. So it's a delightful principle. I hope that it gives you inspiration. And when you're frustrated and you're beating your head against the wall, and why is this particular experience not happening to me? And I want it because everybody's having it and I want the experience too. And they tell me I should let go of experience, but you know, damn it, I want that experience. It's very understandable, and we've all been through that. And so just remember that 1 inch, and maybe the 1 inch for you is like the yogini I talked about. She already had it, and she didn't know it. That's the 1 inch. She didn't know. She's already has the experience. And that's been a cosmic joke for me very often, that I don't hear the Om. Oh my God, that's the Om? Okay, I didn't know it was the Om. That's a Samadhi? I didn't know that was the Samadhi. It's a cosmic joke. All right, it's 1 inch. It's just right there waiting for you. So I hope that helps. If it does, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time.